That's great. Hey.
No more bad coffee, my friends. Cheers.
Cheers.
Actually, I'm having some cascara tea.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, this is great, man. Great stuff.
What is that?
It's good for your health, good for hangovers, good for everything.
Okay, so
yeah, you should get some of this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, I'm recording now, Henrique, so I'll start like I'm recording for this video. Yeah. So Henrique, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I'm Mark Kent from Pureplanet Coffee, and we are the roaster and distributor for the coffee, which is biodynamic coffee that you grow there at Camosim Farm in Brazil. And I wanted to interview you and ask you a few questions so that people can understand a bit more about what it is you do and why. So can I just start off with some questions first?
Yes, sir.
Can you explain to me and everyone watching this video, like, what is the difference between organic coffee and biodynamic coffee?
Okay, so biodynamics was the first organic movement in the planet. 1924, Mr. Rudolf Steiner wrote a book on agriculture. And the whole thing about biodynamics being very short and sweet in my explanation is a way to enrich the soil again, to bring life back to the soil, bring back life back to the plants. So it's a step above organics. Organics, everybody understands in the UK and the European market. It's very well known. In Brazil, it's still in the beginning. But biodynamics is respecting the cycles of nature, sun, moon, planets, astrological cycles. So we use that in our agriculture. We use it in our practices here. So it's obviously geared towards getting a better product in the end of the day, more flavor, less oxidation. So all biodynamic products have this characteristic. Can be wine, can be fruit, can be coffee, anything that's grown biodynamically has better characteristics in terms of taste and the rest that I said. So the difference is there. So it's actually not, if you have to be organic to be biodynamic. So it's like I said, it's a step above. So you start looking at the plants as individual organisms. It's not a monoculture. So we don't use monoculture. It's agroforestry system here. So the coffee is not all the same like the regular chemical coffees. And you look at that plantation, all the trees that look exactly the same. And that's man doing agriculture. And here we practice nature doing agriculture. So that's the biggest difference is there. And also it makes us connect more to the land. So that's another thing that's interesting, because you're treating the trees nearly individually. So you know exactly where the problems are, you treat them accordingly. So we use the homeopathic medicines, we use the preparations, and we use the cycles to do our practices. So we follow a calendar, and the calendar demands from us to do certain things at certain periods of the year. So that's the biggest difference right there. More flavor, more aroma, less oxidation. The green coffee will last longer. The roasted coffee will last longer. It will keep better. So there are a lot of differences in that sense, and you can feel it. And this, by the way, this is not a cure for anything. This is a way to enrich the soil and enrich the soil content, and also to create a more resistant plant. So we have less diseases on the plant. We have more productivity. We can boost the productivity using the preparations. So that's the major difference right there.
Mm. And in my when I started the Pureplanet Coffee, I was looking for the best coffee, and we found very limited producers of biodynamic coffee. So we found actually, I've spoken to many farmers, especially in Africa, and everyone's doing commercial GMO farming. And not just them, but in where we're based at Eternal Lake Nature Reserve in UK, in Kent, we're surrounded by commercial GMO farmers. And if I speak to these farmers about why they don't transition to organic or biodynamic way, they keep telling me because of money. How are you going to do this? Is it harder to produce biodynamic or more expensive? Or what do you say to them?
Well, it is more expensive for sure. It takes more time, it takes more care. We have to tend to the trees in a different way. So the cost of production is higher, but there's a lot of BS about any kind of crop being grown organically or biodynamically in terms of productivity. And if nowadays, if you have the technology, and there is technology, there are solutions mainly to feed the plants, which is the hardest thing to do in organic Demeter certified agriculture, because you can't use any kind of compound that's not that's being processed, that comes from a GMO a source, or that's confined animals. It's against the rules to use that, so it is harder. And also, if you are in the middle of an area where you have a lot of non-organic farming, then you become a magnet of all kinds of problems, because everything goes to you. So you have to have a special, I would say, in terms of geography, in terms of what people are doing around you, to be able to really gain with this. And also, well, most of the people that deal with that kind of product, they're more direct trade style model. So in the end of the day, you do your math, and there's no intermediaries between me and you. There's importer and the shipping. That's it. So it's not like regular coffee trade that you go through a lot of phases, a lot of, in the chain, it's like 5-6 people making either a percentage or a margin on the coffee. So we began like that also. We began with the direct trade model. The first harvest I sold directly to a roaster. And this is something that changes things. So you have to change your economical model, and you have to change the way you treat it, and you have to have a situation where it's easier to do. For example, in your area, you said there's a lot of chemical agriculture. So if you try to go organic there, all these plagues and pests and stuff that attack the regular plantation will come to you. So it's not easy. So it's a regional concept. You have to really be able to do this in a situation. I'm in a valley. Camusim is a 170 hectare valley. I'm protected by forests around me. I'm close to a national park. So my life is easier. And I'm able to do this successfully because of this whole holistic situation. So yeah, it's not easy to go and just do it. You have to be able to understand the situation where you are. And I think the transition is inevitable, because the consumer wants this now. So there's a pressure from the market. We are in high demand market. So, and it grew with the pandemic, it grew more. Because people are now cooking at home, they don't go out as much. So they're looking at the ingredients that they're using. It's also a generational thing, where the new generation wants to know where the food is coming from, how it's being grown. If they're respecting the environment, they're respecting the people, respecting the animals, everything. So this is, I don't think it will go backwards ever. I think it will continue growing, and it will adapt. So in my region here, we are in the transition of the whole area. It's now 9 farms around me that changed from regular coffee growing to organic coffee growing first, and then to Demeter certified. So, and then it makes everybody's life easier. And also we can also band together to do our composting, or to buy some compost together. There are solutions for that here in Brazil now. We have Demeter certified a bag of fertilizer. In the past, I had to do everything in the farm, which is really hard to do. As we grew, to give you an idea, we make around 180, 200 tons of coffee here at the farm. I had to do 120 tons of compost every year. So it's a lot of work. Now we have a solution that comes from a custom-made bag of Demeter certified fertilizer. And this really made things better for us. So you have to have all these pieces in place to be successful. It's not easy, but I don't think it's going to go backwards. I think it's going to grow. And there's a lot of new solutions now. So I'm happy.
Yeah, that's great news. And especially for us, because our focus is on the biodynamic coffee. I just want to ask you, you're drinking, like what sort of coffee do you drink yourself? And does it change throughout the year, or do you stick with biodynamic?
No, I try to drink from my friends and from myself the whole time. Yeah, we have 9 varietals here at the farm, and we're constantly tasting. Every week we taste 2-3 times at least. At this point right now, this time of the year, it's a harvest. So we actually today we're selecting the cup of excellence coffee that's going to the competition. So we have 6 or 7 options here, and we have to narrow down to one, and we'll taste this and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, well, I try everything, but I try to focus on what we are doing, on the same style of agriculture.
Yeah,
and there are solutions in Brazil. There's a few guys now. There's some few large products of organic coffee still in the old style and also mechanized. That's for I would say more like supermarket stuff. So it's not high-end quality coffee, but a lot of volume. And the smaller guys, that do biodynamic coffee, they're also on the rise. So we'll have more and more choices. But I do taste everything. Obviously, I drink most of the time I drink my coffee, but I do taste everything that people send me.
Great. And one thing I wanted to run past you, actually, when we opened our cafe, we had a decaf coffee, which is not actually organic or biodynamic. It's sugarcane decaf, and it tastes okay. But I'm aware this is not the standard of our regular coffee. So when we first opened the cafe over a year ago, we had new customers coming in, and they straight away asked for decaf. And I was asking everyone, why do you have decaf? And they said to me, because I get headache after having regular coffee. And I said, they say to me straight away that this is because of caffeine. And I say, well, from my knowledge, that this is not because of caffeine. Actually, this is a detox reaction from the GMO coffee. What is your take on this, what I've experienced with many customers now who then don't get a headache after drinking the biodynamic coffee? So
great. Yeah, same thing with wine. Exactly the same thing. So
with wine.
Yeah, there is the wine, biodynamic wine. You can drink many bottles and you feel good the next day. And regular chemical wine that's grown in wine has a lot of chemicals.
Yeah.
And also they use a lot of sulfites to preserve the wine. So that's pretty hard on your system. But for sure, the biodynamic coffee will have a different effect on your system.
What sort of level would the fact it's biodynamic have any difference on its level of caffeine?
No, not at all. No change at all.
Well, what do you think? What do you think in terms of, like, obviously you have a window where nature would naturally provide fruit and vegetables in the cycle of a year. When you harvest the coffee bang on that moon and planet cycle and calendar, what I know you say it's better, but is it anything measurably better?
I can send you a bunch of information about that right now. I got some new stuff that just came out, some scientific research. Yeah, listen, the industry wants you to use chemicals, so it's a huge pressure on the growers, and the marketing campaigns are huge. A lot of money is spent on promotion. You got free stuff, you got barter deals, which makes everybody's life easier. I wish we had it in organic biodynamic farming, but we don't. You go to our agronomic agronomic school, and they will teach you how to treat the land with chemicals. So it's changing. There's already a few places here in Brazil where you learn agroforestry system farming. And this is all new. This is like 10 years from now. 10 years ago, it's nothing like that. So, God, yeah, it's hard to say, but it's the truth. You know, when you do agriculture in Europe, also in the UK, also in France, also, you go to a school, they teach how to treat the land with chemicals. That's what it is, and it's been like that for the last nearly 100 years. Huh? So there's a change of view, a change of perspective, a change of mindset that will push this aside a little bit, at least for people that are worried about, trying to save this little blue rock that we live in. Anyway, that's it.
Well, that's it's amazing. So thank you. You definitely answered all my questions, and I've also really great to know that you're committed to doing the biodynamic in the face of lots of pressure and commercial, and I chose biodynamic for as everything I can, not just coffee, but everything else. If I can get biodynamic, I will try. And we're at a nature reserve that's obviously here to preserve and to treat the land and the water in a sacred way. Like we will end up as this compost as well. So let's not put chemical in it and let's make it nice.
Yeah.
On a final word on that, is there anything that, from a farm productivity point of view, I know you said there's more labor and there's more challenges with fertilizer and compost, but is there anything you could say to other farmers that would inspire them to go the way that you're doing with farming?
Yeah, listen, I'm a pragmatic biodynamic guy, okay? So I use technology as much as I can. So, just the traceability of everything here is all done with technology. Even spreading the preparations, which used to be done by hand, we use a machine to do it. So I'm not going to the drone thing yet, but maybe if we have a sun-powered drone, I will do it in the future. What can help you is don't be shy to use the technology and the machinery that's available that make your life easier. I'll give an example. To spread the preparations in the plantation, here we have 450,000 plants of coffee here at the farm. So it's a huge job, and we have to go tree by tree. In the past, we use a branch of some vegetation with a coastal thing in the back of your like they spread the chemicals in the land. The same thing you see, a little pump, and you spray it around.
Yeah.
Now we use a big giant cannon that has 3 big mouths, and it throws 10 meters, 7 meters, 5 meters. So we attach that to the tractor, put the biodynamic preparation inside, and I can send you a little movie of how it's done. And it's like, you look at that and you say, wow, this guy's spraying some kind of chemical. No, it's preparation. So we're using the same technology for chemical growing coffee to do biodynamics. So that will make everybody's life easier. So my advice would be, use the means that you have. Technology is not bad. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking right now. So that's another thing. Communication, also very important. So use everything that you can. Just don't use the chemicals. And that will lower the cost of your production a little bit, and will make your life easier. So it took me 5 to 6 days just to spray the whole farm in the old style way, with the coastal, with the thing in the back, spraying one by one. Now it takes like 15 hours.
Wow.
So a lot of labor saved there, a lot of time saved there. So
fantastic. And
that's what I would say.
Henrique, what would,
with the coastal, with the thing in the back, spraying one by one. Now it takes like 15 hours. So a lot of labor saved there, a lot of time saved there. So
fantastic. And
that's what I would say.
Henrique, what would you say to a cafe or coffee shop owner who is buying the GMO coffee and serving it in the cafe?
Well, beware, because you're giving people a little dose of glyphosate, which is not a good idea. You know, the famous Roundup that's used here, spreading all over the Brazil uses a lot of that.
Can I ask you a question?
What I see in practical terms is all the crops that are grown that way, they have less nutritional value. They oxidize faster, so they get older faster. They are obviously, if you have some residue in there, especially in the fruit, coffee is not that bad because you roast the coffee and you get rid of most of the stuff there. But if you're eating an apple or a banana or something like that, then you're really exposed to that. And you know, it's already proven that it's not good for you, for your health, and also for the animals in general, for the farm itself, from the whole environment. So you're just killing the land, you're just killing the soil, and in the end of the day, you move the plantation to another place, and you do a rotation of crops, and that's what they do. And by doing that, supposedly, it's like being a drug addict. You know, you have to stop at some point, otherwise you die. So yeah. It's exactly the same thing. And end of the day, the idea of productivity is not the problem. I mean, we throw away 40% of everything that we produce in the planet. You know, it's logistics is the biggest problem. So there's a lot of spent food out there. You know, there's a lot of waste that shouldn't be there. And if we just resolve those issues, we don't need to focus on productivity so much, and we'll focus more on quality, which is the big thing. So for me and for you, as you're using also, you're trying to feed yourself with better stuff, better ingredients, better rice, better beans, better meat, better whatever is your diet, you will feel a difference in the long term, in your health, in your longevity. I mean, look at myself. I wasn't like this 20 years ago. I feel much better now than I felt when I was 40. So yeah, it makes a difference. So, and it's not like I told you, it's a long-term commitment. You know, it's a lifestyle change. So I think people are looking into that seriously now, and that will change everything, because the pressure will come from the consumer side. Listen, Mark, Nestle is going organic. There you go. The biggest food processor in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, 14 million bags of coffee a year. It's one Colombia and a little bit more that they buy. They're already here in Brazil. They're doing organic milk. They're doing organic baby products. They're doing organics, all kinds of stuff. So they don't do it because they want to do it. They do it because the consumer is asking them to do it. Yeah. So, you know, that's where it's going. So we have to keep on educating people. That's our mission, is to show people that this works, that it's feasible, that's good for you, and then they will demand it, and then the industry will have to adapt. And then I felt the difference in the last 10 years. I mean, a lot of research about organic biodynamic farming that we didn't have access to. Now there's a lot of stuff, a lot of universities looking into that. We have a bunch of studies here at the farm comparing the trees themselves. You know, you look at the root system of a biodynamic plant, and you look at the root system of a normal chemical plant, it's completely different. You know, the same plant in the same place, same location. We have a study going on about that right now. So
okay, and one thing I was wondering, I mean, you're in a very natural area surrounded by forestry and so on.
Yeah.
So which animals that live in nearby forestry would actually eat coffee? The actual beans.
Yeah, there you go. So the bird is the big thing here, because we became a natural reserve for bird reproduction. So the jacu bird that lives here in Brazil, it's the only place that you find this bird in the world. It's like a big chicken, and that eats coffee a lot. And then we have other smaller animals that do the same thing. You know, I don't know the name in English, cuica. It's like a nocturnal, big-eyed lemur, something like that we have here in Brazil, that eats coffee also. Well, other than that,
I mean,
I don't really know about.
do they eat coffee? Like, do they prefer the biodynamic coffee, or do they eat coffee all the time, or
They eat fruit, period.
whenever they get it?
Whatever they get. Yeah, yeah. And they eat a lot. So
Well,
to give you an idea,
I'm actually eating them as well, but like with some chocolate on as a little sweet. It's nice.
yeah. But with roasted coffee, not
Yeah.
not this. No.
No, not this. No, roasted.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good for you.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for answering all my questions. Actually, I've got really a lot out of this, and thank you for giving your message to everyone and doing what you do. We appreciate that a lot. We really do.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
In only less than 1 year, from just being a single coffee shop, we've got 4 coffee shops and a few shops who just reached out to get biodynamic produce, so they know what they're doing.
Great.
And with not really any marketing. So I wanted to make this video to promote like your coffee, biodynamic coffee, natural, way of, you can make money and preserve the land and do a good job. So thank you for doing that.
It's feasible.
And we'll be in touch.
Thank you, my friend. I'll see you in January.
Thank you again. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.